Sinister, isn't it?
Yeah, broadcaster Jenny Cleveland and former Conservative Minister Lord Ed Vaizey are still with us.
Now, the NASA has held an historic meeting on unidentified flying objects a year after launching a study into unexplained sightings.
Well, the team say that over 800 incidents have now been investigating and admitted there is a small fraction which truly remain a mystery. We are joined now by the UFO bros, investigators Emmett Hayes and his brother Joe Hayes, who join us now from the United States. They've been looking into UFOs for the last decade. Good morning to both of you. Thanks very much for joining us. Emmett, let me start with you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's great to see you. Let me start with you, Emmett, because, you know, what have you made of this stat then? Because NASA have come out and they've said about it that the number of sightings that are possibly really anomalous are only 2 to 5%. I mean, is this bad news from your point of view that actually, you know, there aren't that many, or good news that they have confirmed that there are a small percentage that they really don't know what they are?
Well, it's actually great news because what we're learning now is that after ruling out things like atmospheric phenomena, planes, drones, balloons, that we're left with, like you just said, 2 to 5% that are still unknown. They don't know where they are from. And the thing about it is, they say they're possibly really anomalous. So this is good news for the UFO hunters out there.
This is good news for the UFO bros. Joe, you and your brother have been hunting UFOs and been intrigued by this for a very, very long time. What have you both seen that you can't explain or is not explainable?
What me and Emmett have seen in a multiple of above our travels, we saw a lot of satellite signals that we seen, a lot of satellites flying back and forth. We haven't really seen a hard phenomenon yet, but we're still wishing and we're still searching for that.
Feels like there might be some extraterrestrial interruption of your signal as well there, Joe.
We just lost your picture froze, and we're wondering
for a moment.
Maybe they don't want to be talked about in this way, and there's some sort of intervention going on here. But we will continue nonetheless. I mean, I'm intrigued by the fact that NASA have actually come out and spoken about this. You know, they're notoriously secret, usually, aren't they, about these things? So do you think it's marking a change in tack?
Absolutely. Well, the thing that's probably most unique about this is we're getting to a point finally where the stigma around reporting such events is actually starting to fall away. And I think that that's probably the biggest takeaway from today's hearing is that they want more data. They want more people in the scientific world to come together and analyze data. And so we're really at a big turning point here for people who don't take this too seriously.
And Emmett, let's try one more time. Sorry, Joe, let's try one more time with you because hopefully the signal's a little bit clearer. I mean, where does this leave you and your brother, and what more would you like to see being done? And what would you say to people watching this morning if they have some footage, but as Joe was saying, they feel a little bit stigmatised about the idea of reporting it?
If you have any sort of if you have any kind of film or footage, please send it to us. We would like to check it out for ourselves, or send it to your local radio or your local station. Have them check it out. We really need to get this set out there and have everybody know that there's other things out there other than what we just have here on Earth.
And Emmett, we've got to ask you about Demi Lovato. So you took her UFO hunting, is this right? I mean, what happened?
Well, it was absolutely amazing. We got a chance to take Demi Lovato, her sister, and her best friend Matthew out to a local UFO hotspot in Southern California. We took them out there, and what we basically did is we skywatched. We used night vision cameras to watch the sky, and we had some pretty amazing sightings of objects in the sky that we don't know what they were. One of them glowed really bright and then dimmed very, very slowly, and it was unlike anything we have ever seen. But like Joe says, we haven't seen, you know, a spinning UFO yet, but with Demi, there's something about her ability. I'm telling you, she's like a UFO magnet.
Wow!
So we had a great time.
So is she convinced now that that the truth is out there? There's something more to this?
Oh yeah, she is absolutely convinced that we are not alone in the universe and that ETs are real. They really are. The aliens, I think they're already here.
The aliens are already here.
Wow!
What a thought.
They're already here.
Are they walking amongst us? Is this something we should know?
Well, you know, some say that they're all around us, some say. But in terms of these weird things in the sky, who knows? It could be extraterrestrials. Joe and I sure are hoping that they are.
Look, we really appreciate you both joining us this morning to share your thoughts on this panel of NASA scientists getting together and discussing this. And best of luck with the future UFO hunting as well. We will be following that closely. Jenny and Ed, we've had lots of people getting in touch. There's a Jenny here who's emailed saying, my husband and I saw a UFO over Bell Common in Epping, which is where I grew up. Jenny says this. Ben lived there.
Oh.
It was 1969, so a little bit before my time. It hovered over the common, then disappeared as quickly as it came. We definitely saw it. No one believed us. We will always remember it. I think there is a little bit of what Emmett and Joe were saying there about the stigma.
Admitted it was dropping you off.
1969, Ed.
Yeah, you were incubated and then now you've emerged, fully formed. I take over our airways.
Still many years later. That's a long incubation period. There is a little bit of a stigma. That's what the boys were saying there. They want to sort of lift that, get people to talk about it and not be laughed at when they say, as Jenny's saying, no one would believe us.
I think there's a lot to that, and I think we're living in an age of conspiracy theories and where people are obsessed with tracking things down on the internet, and some of it can be really, really nasty, people trying to solve crimes or being quite aggressive and accusing people of stuff, and this would be a much better way for people to spend their energies if there's 2% of stuff that NASA don't understand. That's what people should be investigating online. Why not? There shouldn't be a stigma.
I think it's really interesting, isn't it, though, that NASA is speaking about this, because I think people thought that there was more to it because they weren't speaking about it.
Exactly.
It sort of, you know, perpetuated that, didn't it?
It's a really good point.
But now that they're saying, actually, we answer questions, we've looked into this is what we found.
Totally right. And I think Emmett and Joe are clearly living the brand. And maybe the problem is that when someone who looks like Emmett and Joe comes and tells you they've seen a UFO, it's slightly harder to take them seriously. But when somebody who's running NASA says, you know, there are 2 to 5% of objects that have been detected that we cannot explain. And you are quite right. I think transparency in all circumstances always tends to be more effective. So if you clam up and say, we're not going to talk about this, people think, well, there's definitely, you know...
A bit like those WhatsApp...
Roswell, the Roswell Air Base where they're supposed to have the body of an alien and so on. Whereas if they say, look, we can explain away 95% of this very easy, but there is stuff out there. We'd love to investigate it. We'd like to tap into the hive mind, but also use all the powers that NASA has and the expertise that NASA has to try and work out what these objects are, and let's work together. I think that's a great move. I don't think it makes them look ridiculous or sinister in any shape or form.
There's an interesting phenomena with regards to the sightings of UFOs in the UK. I'm just looking at the top 10 places and how it breaks down. The number 1 place for spotting UFOs is Edinburgh. 18% of UFO spottings are in Edinburgh.
What time?
It doesn't say. But here's the interesting thing. The number 10 place where there's only 3% is in Glasgow. So you see a lot more UFOs in Edinburgh than you do in Glasgow, which isn't that
I think
far
that's
away.
Probably...
Maybe they're there for the festival.
Exactly. The
Could be around
aliens' cultural preferences.
Yeah.
Mid to late August is when they're...
Yeah, they turn up for the comedy fringe.
It does say, according to the data, you're most likely to see a UFO in the evenings between 9 and 10 and on Saturdays. And apparently...
We all know it's between 11 and 12 on your way home.
Yes, drink on a Saturday night.
It's a big night out for the extraterrestrials that are flying around. They're just, you know...
They've got to get home.
Well, they understand everybody's just sort of going to be... Everybody's going to be in a position where if they look up and see something, they'll say, oh, I've just had a few too many drinks, you see.
So they get maximum viewers. But
actually, we're underreporting.
That's exactly...
Because people are writing it off.